I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sunrise, when the sun.
Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me or see me. I'm doing too much at the same time. You know what? Let me try to fix that. Okay, there we go. I see myself. And here, let me do something else here. Boom. Perfect. And there we go. All right. What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, y'all having an awesome start. Look, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Hopefully, y'all having a great start to your week, work week, or just week in general. Hopefully, everything is going smoothly for you. And if not, we have ways around that, right? So I just thought I'd come on here, touch base with y'all on what is it? What shall we call it? Webinar Eve, because we got the webinar tomorrow. And speaking of which, if you guys have signed up for the webinar, please register so that I can see who all is in there and everything. But it never ceases to amaze me. I put in every email, please register as soon as. That's the problem. I say as soon as possible. And y'all be like, I'll get around to the profit. I'm gonna slide up in that thing right before it starts. What's going on, everybody? But go ahead and register for me so I know how many we got in there. It's gonna be fun. Excuse me. We will be controlling and compelling, striking a straight lick with a crooked stick, as they say down here, and getting these folks to just do what we want them to do. Right? Wouldn't the world just be simpler if folks just do what you want them to do? Maybe, or maybe it won't be that good, but we'll see. Give y'all the means. But so I was like, I looked at the comments and somebody reminded me that I needed to tell the story about this spiritual gathering that I went to, where it wasn't necessarily people doing things spiritually out of order. No, it was just some people acting very peopleish up in there. And it always seems to be the Atlanta not hoodoo, but the Atlanta Orisha community. They some wild people. Love them all to death, but gosh, they some wild folks. They are. And it's a million um Elays up there. I mean, if you throw a rock in Atlanta, you're gonna hit a babalao. I mean, there's always somebody dressed in white. Let me turn my little heater off up there. And I'm like, man, y'all doing some wild stuff. So this particular go. This doggone dog. So this particular bimbe function, right? So now we'll say they consider themselves traditional, even though a lot of the things that they do or the way they do them are, kind of Lukumi, Santeria ish, but they consider themselves traditional. And hey, go for it, right? No worries. But in them considering themselves traditional, you can tell that they do things according to what they think is done in Africa, as opposed to I don't know how to put it. Like um there's a lot of bushy pits at their gatherings with the ladies. There's a lot of bushy pits. There's some legs that have not been tended to, and that's fine. Hey, rock is your body. Rock it how you want to rock it. But that's just how they do it. And so The drumming started, and people were dancing and having a good time. There was some high kicks getting done that probably should not have gotten done. I'm leaving to y'all's imagination. Lovely ladies in skirts. I mean, the white skirts that people wear to drumming, and there was a lot of high kicking going on. And remember what I just said. So there was some high kicking going on that probably should not have gone on. Um, with that being said, with the Atlanta Orisha community being so dense, people often try to separate themselves, differentiate themselves. So you have elays full of, like, we say birds of a feather flock together. They have elays full of like-minded individuals. So there will be the elay that's got the doctors and lawyers in it. There's the elay that's got, all the bus driver. You know what I'm saying. This particular one was kind of mixed, which I enjoy. You know, who cares what we do? Let's all do this together on the level. But still, people will try to differentiate themselves, and they will just do extra stuff. And I'm gonna tell y'all what I mean by extra. So they had the Orisha represented there, and everyone would salute the Orisha and whatever. So it got to a point where this particular Babalawo, and I don't know what he was thinking, y'all. I don't know why he did this. And I'm back there, and I have a beverage. Because yeah, they were serving beverages. I mean, they were out back frying fish. That's just how they get down. Cool. So I had a beverage, and I'm just sitting back. And I'm the only one not in white, stuck out like a sore thumb. I'm like the little spot of pepper in the sea of salt. But I'm cool. I'm chilling. Babalao walks in. If you don't know, a Babalao is kind of a is a priest of Ifa. Walks in and walks to this little concrete statue that was supposed to represent Eshu Elegua. I don't know the difference, right? That is not my thing. Walks over to it and looks back at someone who was walking with him, part of his, spiritual entourage, and they hand him a sack. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. Okay. He proceeds to dump the contents of the sack on top of the SU slash Elegua slash whatever, whichever one, no disrespect to the Orisha. And I'm like, well, with my limited knowledge, I'm like, well, I know that particular Orisha likes candy, but I never thought that people would dump a whole bag of powdered sugar on him. Like, dang, I'm learning some new stuff. Come to find out, y'all, that was not powdered sugar that he had dumped on top of that Orisha. That Orisha is said to open roads, and that particular Babalao, well, let's just say spirituality was not his full-time job. His full-time job was one of um he ran a pharmacy at the street level. I'll leave it at that. He ran a pharmacy at the street level, and that was not powdered sugar that he had dumped on top of the Orisha in hopes that he would, would that the Orisha would open the roads for him to receive more of the powdered sugar. Wink, wink. Now I'm looking at this, and I don't know if y'all remember the movie The Color Purple. Remember, if you've seen the movie, remember in The Color Purple when they were in the juke joint, and they were in the juke joint, right? Like he's Scarface. So they remember when they were in the juke joint, and um, what's her face got in Sophia's face. Oprah Winfrey got in, so they got in Sophia's face, and the old man just picked up his bag, and he was like, "Good night, y'all." He was like, "Good night, y'all." And then the piano player was like, boom, whoops, gotta go. That's how your boy was. Now, y'all know me. It's only a few things that I'm afraid of. You know, one of them y'all would laugh if y'all knew. I shoot, me and the law have often not seen. Well, I won't say often. I mean, there's a stretch there where we didn't see eye to eye. But I don't put myself in situations where I'm gonna have to work my way out of. If I happen upon a situation that I have to work my way out of, okay, cool. But I'm not going to intentionally do it. And that is something I have a problem with modern day spiritualists. People want to intentionally hop into the fire and be like, please, spirit, stop me from getting burned. Shoot, even Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't hop in the oven. They got thrown in there. But I looked and I was like, man. And once again, I said to myself, I said, self said, huh? It's time to go. So I was like, good night, y'all. Got my beverage up, got up out of there. But I was like, I had one thought though. I had one thought as I was exiting stage right. And that thought was, hey, who gonna clean that stuff up? Like who just does that? Like, was that okayed ahead of time? Was that known that was gonna happen? I mean, it was so many questions that I had. I mean, so many questions. Like, who gonna clean that up? I mean, whose vacuum is that going up in? Are y'all gonna vac and then try to? It has. I had so many questions, and I was just like, just why? I mean, yeah, okay. All right, you big baller. You Scarface. You just come in, pow. But I don't know. I just don't know. Like why? Like why did it prove a point? Was there? I don't know. But I will tell you. I will tell y'all this. Um, while we're speaking of spiritual gatherings and spiritual groups, I have gotten messages about people who just like who have like gotten initiated and just kind of parted ways with their godparent, mentor, whoever. And I'm like, okay, cool. But it never fails. I will always ask, first of all, I'll ask what happened. Um, then I will ask, like, how long did you know this person ahead of time? And y'all would be surprised at how many folks enter into something as serious as an initiation or a mentorship with like the drop of, I mean, never hung out with the person, never had a real conversation. And that's one thing I want you guys to understand. Yes, it is spiritual, but spiritual law and physical law, they run parallel. I've always said that. And the same thing with relationships. Do not think that because a situation is spiritual in nature, that there are still not human beings in it. And with that being said, you may find yourself being initiated by somebody you don't like, and vice versa. And it's not like, watch this, boom, bye. So you don't want that type of friction. And it's something that can be easily fixed just by a little conversation ahead of time. That's it. Just a little conversation ahead of time. And that's all you got to do. So, how y'all doing out there? Somebody wanted me to tell that story, and I'm like, "Ugh, okay, I'll tell it. Somebody asked me what happened with the coconut lady. I did hear from the coconut lady again, like maybe a year or two later. I did hear from the coconut lady again. And the fun it's not funny, but yeah, when I tell y'all she had built a like not a room, but like an altar to the coconut that if you did not know the backstory, you'd have thought this woman was crazy. And she was like, this is great. But things started happening. I said, "Oh, hold on. If you start experiencing stuff, we need to nip this in the bud now." And she was like, "No, no, I feel okay." I said, "Okay." About a week or two later, things started getting right back to where they were ahead of time. And so I asked her, I said, um, how's the coconut look? Like, what's going on? And she said, no, there's a big crack in it, blah, blah. I said, oh, well, there we go. Whatever it was that we put in there is now out. And it's going back to what it was doing before. Want me to come get it again? Now, I kind of suspected that that would happen. Kind of. I but if y'all remember the story, I don't know if I gave a time frame, but that situation lasted for hours. I was beat and something popped into my head as like maybe the next day that I should have thought about in the beginning. And that is coconuts dry out. And then what happens when they dry out? Go ahead, just shout it out if you know the answer. What happens to a coconut when it dries out? When the coconut water on the inside dries and all that. So what happens? They crack. Should have thought about that, but I didn't. And it cracked. And I said, well, I'll come back by. No problem. No worries. I'll come back. And she was like, no, no, I think I want to. Yeah. I'm like, okay, go ahead. I know what she was going to do. See, people will watch, and this is a teachable moment when it comes to hoodoo. People will watch what you do, or they'll watch a video or whatever, and think that immediately they can do it because hoodoo comes off as being very simple. But there is a complexity inside of the simplicity. There's there's always a method to the hoodoo madness, and a lot of it there is, you know, internal things. If you took the first webinar, remember, or if you watch enough videos, I always say mind, body, and spirit have to be in alignment. And that is something that we as a society now have a hard time doing. You know, think about it. Why is hexing so easy now? Hexing is so easy for people now because the world is so easy and prone to hate and hatred. People can get upset at the drop of a hat. Sometimes I think people wake up in the morning looking for something to be mad about. But people can't do that for other things, like other emotions. So if you can't call forth that emotion, then you can't be in alignment with whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. If you cannot call forth the spirit of wealth, all you can do is wallow in lacking. It's going to be hard for you to accomplish a money working. A lot of people mess up on their love spells because love is the last thing you're feeling at the time that you're lighting that candle or prepping those roots and herbs. You are feeling lonely, you're feeling sad, you're feeling um detached, you just feeling everything but love. So that's why people have such a hard time now. But if you just look on the outside, you don't know what that worker is doing internally. You know, some of y'all like to call it mental alchemy, right? I don't know why I just did that. I mean, you clearly not crazy being focused, but it's mental alchemy. So when but people look at it and they think it's like, oh, so simple. And when I say spiritual and physical all run parallel, you know it's gotta there's some of us should know that there's more to it when we're watching some work being done, watching a candle being lit, watching prayers being said, because there's I mean, if a $10 candle could beget a six-figure job just by lighting it, we'd all be lighting them. You couldn't keep them things off the shelves. Think about it. So there's got to be more to it. That's why it's spiritual work. I think a lot of like, especially nowadays, we want everything right now, and nothing wrong with that. I want stuff right now too. But I understand that there's going to be some work involved, and we want to immediately become adept at things without wanting to invest the time. That's why it's a spiritual journey. It's not a spiritual trip. You know, it's a spiritual journey, and I think people need to slow down. When I go back to the whole initiation thing, I had someone actually contact me, and they were like, "Oh, you know, my godfather is not teaching me and blah blah blah." And I was like, and this is 100% a true story. This person contacted me on a Wednesday. I'm falling out with my godfather because he's not teaching me blah blah. I'm like, man, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, how long have you been initiated? This particular one was Paulo. I was like, how long you been scratched? He was like, well, I got scratched on Saturday. And I'm like, Saturday? So Saturday, y'all help me out. How many days is that? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. In 4 days, in 4 days, this person had decided that nope, nope, this sucks. I ain't being taught enough. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. But I think that's why. And since we're live, let's have an open dialogue. Why do y'all think? Why do y'all think a lot of older spiritualists or a lot of those that are really adept? Why do y'all think they aren't apt to take on pupils, mentees, students, if you will? And we're not talking about the voodoo. We're not talking about Apollo. We're not talking about Orisha. We're talking about strictly hoodoo now. Why do y'all think a lot of the older workers just decided, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. And I don't have an opinion. I just want to hear what y'all think about the matter. People are careless, could be. Why y'all thinking stuff up? Let me run through here. What up, Nix? What up, Sunset Goddess? What up, Vontae? What up, Flimsy? What up, Jessica? Yeah, you finally caught it live. What's up, Chelsea? What's up, Ebony? Hey, Kelly. What up, Cash Barbie? Mm. Hey, Karima. What up, Kid Aries? Rise under the heat. What's going on? Miss Bloodline Mystic, how are you? Carlos, what up, Axe? I want to speak to everybody. Boom, 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 boom. What up, Kofi? All right, let's see here. What's up, Jerry? My man, Jerry. All right. All right. So Shonda said people are careless. Chelsea said because my generation is petty and foolish. Access too much to deal with. Tampico says my godfather thought I was full of myself because I asked questions about myself, so we parted ways. Shorter tempers. Okay, okay. Nick said people always wanting that instant gratification. That's a real problem in all spirituality. Absolutely. Emily says, for one, the new age people don't like the Bible, think they can do without it. True. Karima says, because not everyone has the mental maturity and mindset to practice wisely. Okay. People are lacking patience from Kelly. Kofi says, too many microwave mindsets. Give it to me now. Got to learn to grow something on the soil. Gotcha. Got you. What's up, Denise? Thank you for being a member. Sunset, um, the Sunset Goddess says, because they know the younger generation is not going to be as serious with so much distraction these days. Honestly, guys, Kid Aries or Kid Ayers says, I think there's a bit of an incompatibility between how the younger generation learn and how the old generation teach. With internet, people want instant answers and think they have all the answers. And Dylan says because most people are spiritually lazy and will not be in the work or will sell their teachings. You know what? Y'all gave some good answers. And I like to read all of them, but should I be reading all day? But I believe it's a combination of a lot of those factors, to be perfectly honest. As someone, who has taught and who likes to teach, I will say this. It becomes because a lot of people will contact me or I've seen y'all post. It's the same story. I found out my grandma or granddad passed away. Well, no, not found out they passed away. I found out they practiced and they passed away without teaching. It's always the same story. And this is something that just recently came to me. And I was like, you know what? If they had wanted to pass it along, they would have. If that was their desire, they would have. So a lot of people need to ask themselves, what did they see in the generation that was up under them that made them decide to take it with them? What did they see? Because that's I think a lot of time that's what happened. They saw something, they were like, no. Because when you want to pat, you will. You will. I know sometimes, God calls us home unexpectedly, things like that. But sometime when people, I think a lot of them just said, I'm good. I'm good. And you have to ask yourself why. And it's a combination of things. As someone who has taught hoodoo and who likes to teach hoodoo, um, you can only answer, Prophet, how F this be up so many times before you get sick of it. You can only deal with that instant gratification mindset. Ooh, sorry, y'all. Trying to do a bunch of stuff. You can only deal with that so much. Um, People will see you driving a car and will ask you to teach them how to drive, but don't want to hear about buckling the seatbelt. They don't want to hear about um, the basics, the foundation. And so not all the time, because there are some horrible, horrible godparents, horrible, horrible mentors out here. But I know a lot of time people are just burned out from the mindset of the world around them right now. Um, someone contacted me here recently, and it was, I mean, decent conversation about how they wanted to learn hoodoo, blah blah blah. Excuse me. Asked my opinion on some of the things that are going on, and I gave it to them. And then a few days later, they sent me a link to somebody's TikTok video. And I'm like, everyone has their opinion. This particular fellow was talking about the use or not or lack of use of the Bible in hoodoo. And this person was like, well, I just got through arguing with them. And I'm like, why are you online arguing? And you don't even know yet. You just told me you were starting out. So why are you online arguing? And yes, I don't know. It gets frustrating. I'm not saying it's right by any stretch of the imagination, by any means. I'm not saying it's right, but I think people don't understand the human aspect, and that is, we just folks get tired. Just like, man, you know what? And I think grandma or granddaddy got tired and was just like, you know what? I'm cool. I'm just gonna take it on with me. I'm just gonna take it on with me. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying I can understand. So that's why I'm doing the webinars now. That's why I started this channel, to be perfectly honest. Um, just to put the stuff out there, and those who had, the ear to listen, let them hear. Let those who is meant for, let them finally get it from someone who is Southern, black, and been in this for a while. And if they can put it to use, they can put it to use. Um, I do think that eventually people get tired of the stuff they see not working, and they'll come back around. That's why I don't argue with folks about hoodoo anymore, because one of the people ask me a lot of times, well, how do I do this? Is this okay? Because they're afraid that the roots and herbs is going to somehow blow up and destroy their house. People operate on a lot of fear now. And I tell them, listen, the worst that can happen, the worst that can happen is that what you're doing won't work. Absolute worst. What you're doing won't work. That's the worst that can happen. So don't worry about the stuff blowing up. It's not, you're not going to accidentally generationally curse yourself. Just don't operate off of fear. That's the worst that can happen. Stuff just won't work. And look, I'm reading what y'all are saying at the same time. I got mods in here. Y'all are cool. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you to all the channel members who are here. And I think, before I get too far sidetracked, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the registration for the webinar off tomorrow at like we're supposed to meet at 7. I probably cut it off at 5 because you know, I want to leave myself time to prep for the webinar and I have to sit there and give out all these links and give out and send out all these links. So if you want to get in, get your $10 together. But yeah, a lot of people are hard headed as used, Cree. A lot of people are. Um, I was hard, man. I was hard headed, man. Y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea. The webinar tomorrow is going to be on um controlling and compelling. How to make them dance puppet. And if y'all want to preview tomorrow, we're not just going to talk about spell work, which I mean it'll be heavily spell work, but we're also going to talk about like just the physical process. The physical process. See, there's some things that you have to do when you're talking about controlling and compelling. There's some things you have to do, like if you want a brief demonstration of something we'll get into tomorrow. You know, if you are able to sit down right now, sit down and just close your eyes and bow your head. That's if you're able to. Obviously, don't do it if you're driving, but if you're able to, just go ahead and do that. And when you've got that done, just hit one in the chat for me. Just take a deep breath. You know, just have your head bowed, close your eyes, hit one in the chat. Okay, open your eyes and look up. See all these people hitting one in the chat. And Denise is in the chat. She can attest to this. Had I kept going, I could have if your camera was on, had I kept going on the way that I was going, I probably could have made you bark like a dog, cluck like a chicken, spin around or dance around or whatever. Denise, you've been on some of my calls where I did that. Had I kept going at that point, see what I did was it was just a small thing. See, you guys, I mean, you close your eyes, bowed your head simply because I told you to. But what I did ahead of time is, and let me know if y'all notice this. What I did ahead of time, bef- I had already decided I was going to do that right there, and I pitched my voice low. I pitched my voice low. When you pitch your voice low, and a lot of you've already heard this, but it is a real thing. It works when you're talking to adults, doesn't work with kids. But when you pitch your voice low, people strain to listen. That means that everything in you is now focused on me. If you want to hear what I'm saying, when my voice goes low, you are going to strain to hear it. If I'm in front of you, you're going to lean forward. If you're listening to me right now, you're going to try to just tune out the outside ambient noise and you're going to focus entirely on my voice. That is a subconscious and unconscious cue. Whenever someone is trying to hypnotize someone else or something like that, what is the first thing that they say? Focus on my voice. I got you do that um without even telling you to focus on my voice. All I did was pitch my voice lower. There are certain things that the old workers knew. Like for instance, excuse me, if you're dealing with someone who is say a little shy, if you pitch the tone of your voice lower, not necessarily slower, but lower, if you pitch the tone of your voice lower, they'll be more apt to listen to it. If someone is more of an aggressive, assertive, arrogant type, you pitch your voice higher and speak faster, they'll be more in tune to listen to it. These are some of the things that we'll be going over tomorrow. Um, we'll be going over roots and herbs that are more apt to control and compel, some of the things that you can do to basically infect someone with you. Because when you're controlling someone or compelling someone, and I'm gonna stop. No, y'all gotta send them $10. That's what you're doing. You are basically downloading your mental processes into them, letting them um, see, think, hear, and feel what you want them to. Guys, give me about 2 minutes. Need to take a quick break, and then I'll be right back. I'm gonna put it on start soon. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Whew. Had to pay the water bill. Had to pay the water bill. Anyway, so yeah, those are some things we're gonna be going over tomorrow. We'll go over ways of softening up. Sometimes, and this is not just for control. This is for any type of work. See, guys, when people have a spiritual alarm system installed, it's downloaded. We are born with it. People can know nothing of hoodoo, voodoo, palo, orisha, witchcraft, brujeria, anything. They can know nothing of it, but will be able to sense when someone is working on them. We've all felt it ourselves when it's like, wait a minute, some just don't feel right. What's up, Alexis? Some just don't feel right. I just feel off. A lot of times that feeling of being off, that's something inside of you triggering it. And people will you will instinctually throw up a guard, a protection. Um, so we are gonna go over ways of getting around it. It's like boom, that hook is coming. If I'm in a fight with you, and if I land this right hook, it's a one hitter quitter. I know if I land this right hook, it's a one hitter quitter. Am I gonna just run into the ring, just having it cocked like this, and that's it the whole time? I'm just waiting to land that. No, I'm gonna do what those boxers out there. What do? Soften you up. How? With the jab. I'm just gonna keep flicking that jab out there. Just keep flicking that jab out there. And you're gonna pop, 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 pop. But eventually, what's gonna happen? Them arms gonna get tired of holding, your shoulders gonna get tired of holding the arm up. And then once you drop it, boom, there comes the hook. So we're gonna go over methods of softening someone up for control. See, spiritual law and physical law run parallel. You can't get a wild horse and just throw a saddle on it. No, you got to break that horse. People are similar. We'll go over ways of breaking them, breaking the wheel, making them more controllable. Oh, and so guys, if you are in outside of the US and don't have access to Cash App or Venmo, go on my site and I think it says money work webinar. You can pay that way. Just make sure in the comment you say the controlling webinar, so I know which link to send you. So I know which link to send you. It's funny. We were talking about spiritual groups. I told that story. Traditionally in hoodoo, it I won't say that there were no hoodoo groups. There were, but they operated more as churches. You know how a well-run church, it's everyone is involved. It's not just the pastor. You got to have strong deacon board, mother board, ushers, everything. That's why I always tell folks look, the first part is finding your tribe. Then the second part is finding out where you fit in it. And I'm saying this to say I thought about starting something. I don't know how to run. I know how I run stuff that I'm involved in. There's got to be a clear cut head, and then a second, um, you know, a means of teaching the tradition, fellowship, everything like that. So I don't know. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me what y'all think. Is it you did? Oh, you did the protection work. Good deal. Good deal. Ha, Dylan. Dylan was watching for the hook. Dylan said, "My intuition said, why does he want you to put your head down? Look out and be aware. Watch for the hook. Watch for the hook." What's up, MJD? All the way from Australia. That's what's up. Ooh, so, yeah, I thought about doing something like that. Y'all let me know if y'all be interested in something like that. And then we'll go from there. I thought about having an old fashioned tea party, like we talked about before, in the last video, I believe it was, where it's not a Misa and Hoodoo, we would have tea parties. I ain't having no casket service. We ain't about to do that. But we can do a tea party and maybe even virtually, just hold it in like Zoom or webinar form. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. As always, I will keep you guys informed. Absolutely. But before I close this thing out, let's touch on just the very foundations of hoodoo. Like, what do you need starting out? Because a lot of people on this, we talked about this in length in the beginning. People want to start out with a full trick bag and a million candles and all this. Man, look, starting out, honestly, just get you some holy water or Florida water for a quick cleanse. Just a couple of roots that do a few different things. Ideally, you want, because when you understand that hoodoo is just about drawing, it's about attracting, and the opposite polarity. We're not manifesting anything. We're just attracting things to us, be it love, luck, whatever, money. We're just attracting things to us. So just work on two or three roots or herbs that do that. That do that. That's it. So many people are really spiritual recipe collectors and not spiritual workers. Because if you it's like the old saying goes, if you wait till you ready to have kids, you'll never have kids, because when are you going to be ready? The same thing is for hoodoo. If you wait till you feel you're ready to work, you probably won't work, because there's so many different ideologies, so many different um versions, unfortunately, that you'll be reading or listening to or doing every man. I know a lady who has stacks upon stacks of notebooks of stuff she's filled out. And I'm like, well, how much of this have you done? It has been a while. So start slow. What I recommend is, because everybody wants hacks, life hack, this hack, hoodoo hack. Okay, here's a hoodoo hack for you. Just get you in one of those apps that you can take a picture of a plant and have it identified. Then just walk around your neighborhood, identify what grows around you, and you can work with that. You don't have I've seen people who they're like, I started this a year ago. They have whole just room full of jars of stuff. And I'm like, man, why? Why? Learn what grows around you, what you can use it for, and then do that. Learn a method of divination. That is at the core. You have got to learn how to do. I don't care if you bless and anoint a quarter and you heads or tails this thing. Okay, you need to learn some method of divination, because just because you can does not mean that you should. Oh, look at Jen Pat 3131 falling through with the gold boy. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate that. Well, the keep the hoodoo dream alive. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all would be surprised. And I get it. It's enthusiasm. This is new, this is exciting, it's a little bit spooky. It's something that you can do that nobody else will be able to do. I get it. It is great. But still, if you can, just pump your brakes just a little bit. Learn what grows around you that you can pick, that you can use, because guess what? Unless you move, you don't have to wait on Amazon. You don't have to wait on eBay or wherever. What up, Dark Prophet, brother? How's it going? You don't have to wait on that stuff. You can get to work at the drop of a dime if you have to. Look, I went out and bought this. I was gonna make a video on this, but I was gonna show y'all. I have worked people into the ground with just this. And this came from the dollar store, a pack of birthday candles. When you need a candle in a jiffy, there you go. When you need a candle in a jiffy, don't take up much space, and it's cock locked and ready to rock right then. So see, we've gone over Florida or holy water for cleansing. Shoot, the roots and herbs around you that you can use right then if you have to. Um, so like somebody's dog outside getting towed up. But anyway, hopefully not. Um, keep your Bible with you. And speaking of the Bible, y'all, someone else was like, "Well, prophet, I haven't read the Bible in a while." I'm like, "Hey, you might want to get on that." They said, "Well, where would you suggest I start?" In the beginning. In the beginning. We have so many apps where it's just a passage a day, but really just start in the beginning. Start reading it. Make notes. If you have a family member, an older family member's Bible, you'd be surprised at what all man. Bookmarks, earmarks. Let me see if I can find one for y'all. Of course, I mean, this is my grandmama's, but I don't. Y'all probably can't see because the light. Look at that passages already underlined. There's little dots and stuff here. That you would be surprised. But start in the beginning. Make note of things because see what jumps out at you. It may be something I don't use, and I love learning new stuff. Like look at this verse. This verse seems like it could be good for perfect. 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 Um, let's see what else. What else would make for a good elementary trick bag? But before y'all start investing in all these like weird and not necessarily weird, but arcane things for say defense or whatever, look at an object that's just around you that you can use. For instance, we know we can use like say borrow this for a second. Now, this is a skull of a coyote. Now, I can write your name on a petition paper and put you in the jaws. Keep you locked tight, put you in a world of hurt, right? That'll keep you locked tight and put you in a world of hurt. But if you just don't have access to some dead yotis, mousetrap, same thing. You want to have a few, defensive things like a bat head root or devil pod, depending on what worker on what it's called, and some salt, pepper, and red pepper. Salt, pepper, red pepper, and some sugar. Just a few things and a little ingenuity. See the African ancestors, y'all, they were like MacGyver. Now, I know I'm probably too old, y'all too young to know who MacGyver was. But Kofi, calm down. There was this show named MacGyver, and MacGyver knew how to get out of situations just by just building stuff. It was crazy. He would like take some sticks and rubber band and a couple of twigs and rocks. Next thing you know, he done built a helicopter. The African ancestors were very similar. They knew how to do a lot with just a little bit. just a little bit. And so you don't have to start off buying up everything. Just a few things. And what else did the African ancestors know how to do? Hide what it was that they were doing. See, Cree said a toothpick, a fork, and gum. Right? That's how if you ever watched MacGyver, that's how it was. But if you walked into a room and you saw some gum, a toothpick, and a fork, you wouldn't think anything of it. If you walked in and you saw a piece of paper inside of a coyote skull, you're gonna wonder. But a rat trap, not as much. Not as much. And a paper clip, right? And a paper clip. Of course, keep some scraps of paper and a pen for of course, writing down petition papers. Y'all see where I'm going? Of course, we can list all kinds of possibilities, but that's good. See, that gets you thinking that you don't have to have all this stuff. I see so many people overcomplicating the work. This one lady posted a picture and on Twitter, and she was like, I forgot what she said. Wouldn't No, she said, "Doesn't this Florida water look great on my altar? Wouldn't it look great on yours?" Because she was selling Florida, and I couldn't find the Florida water. I guess it was homemade. Man, y'all y'all overcomplicate things sometimes because you don't have to make your Florida water to make it. It doesn't make it more potent. That's one thing we got to get away from. This, yes, I mean, of course, romanticize it. We have a rich and deep history, absolutely wonderful. But sometimes it's easier just to buy something. Sometimes it is. So you don't have to make your floor. You can if you want to, but it's not a necessity. I asked you guys one time before. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me get this. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. So, you know, dried. Look, I was looking at the wrong camera. Dried rattlesnake head. Okay. Yeah, you can use that. But you walk around with that, people gonna look at you funny. Now, when we talk about buying versus making, this is a little jar of oil that comes from a little spot down in Atlanta called Rondo's Temple Sales. Rondo's has been around since, man, I don't even know. They've been around forever. My grandma went there. They've been around forever. This is a bottle of oil that I make. And I don't know why. You know what? That's why it's back there, because I couldn't find my strainer at the time, because I don't believe in leaving crap in my oil. I strained that out. What is the difference between the two? Seriously, what's the difference? Is the homemade more powerful than the store bought? Maybe, maybe not. Rondos have been around so long that a lot of their roots, not the roots, but a lot of their powders, oils, and incense, a herb hadn't touched them in probably 20, 30 years, if not longer. But they're still effective. Why? Because all the people that go there, the little old men, little old women, they still believe it. And their faith is powering that stuff. Just like Saint Expedite. I don't know if I said this on a live or in a class, but one thing that you always want to have on an altar devoted to a spirit is a glass of water. Why? Because the spirits come from their side to our side through the water. The water is the conduit. Even today, it is a universal diluent, and it is a conduit, a point of entry and exit. We're all born through water. We spend 9 months in it, and then swoosh, we're born in a big gush of it. I'm I'm not babysitting. I was, but I got some help, and Got my nephew over here, and I don't know if y'all heard him. That was not the pair at that time. But with that being said, you always want to have a glass of water on a spirit altar. But why do I not put water on if I'm working with Saint Expedite? Why do I not put a glass of water there? Because Saint Expedite is a created spirit. He's not crossing over from any spiritual realm. He was never in a spiritual realm. Saint Expedite was created and fueled by faith. Created and fueled by faith. So that's why I never put water on the altar to Saint Expedite, because Saint Expedite is not crossing there and back. He's just down here. It is just down here. All right. Y'all, you know what? I like this. Oh, let me see here. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, somebody sent something here. Hold on. Oh, Tonio, I got you. I'll send your link after I end here to make sure that you can get your seat in the webinar. If you can get your seat. And even altars, I see Ebony asking, where can I put an altar for a saint? By my ancestor altar? Absolutely. If you look, I mean, if I were to turn this camera, this room is is lined with altars. I mean, I've got this camera here, and the lens on it blurs out the background. But I mean, this room is lined with altars. The only difference is if you were working with Santissima Muerte, she does not play well with others, so you don't, put her on an altar. And if you have Southern black folks, you in your ancestral line, you don't want to put an some saints near them, because we mostly Baptists down here, and the saints are the people in the church. So most Southern Baptists don't believe in saints. There we go. Had a little temporary glitch there. Okay. So, if you're gonna start an altar, and you don't have to have the room line like I do, just get you a bookshelf. Get you a bookshelf and dedicate every shelf to somebody if you choose to. Just make sure you got God on top. Okay. Make sure you got God on top, and then everyone else. Okay. Kofi, well, the thing is, there was no Saint Expedite. There was no Saint Expedite. Someone thought that they had discovered a saint and started working with them, just like, you got to realize, with saints there are some that are recognized, some that are not. Like Santissima Muerte, Saint Death, is not recognized. So Saint Expedite, someone thought they discovered a saint. They Let me close this door. Be right back, y'all. Hold on. So the story goes. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not. That's just how the story goes. The story goes that a a saint statue was shipped to a parish in New Orleans, and this is just the story, okay? And it arrived broken. And so when the parishioners opened up the thing, no one could recognize what saint it was. And they're like, "What saint is this?" Well, they looked on the box, and they saw the word expedite on there. Like, "Oh, it's Saint Expedite." And we know that expedite means to make something happen quickly. And so they're like, this is Saint Expedite. We pray to Saint Expedite to make things happen for us quickly. And enough people did it, enough people prayed over it, and eventually Saint Expedite actually started doing it. And so that's how places like Rondos, and I like Rondos. They're not melanated, but they've been around like 70, 80 years. And that's just what they do. They sell the stuff. Or there's some look, so quick story. The guy who started Rondo's Temple Sales in Atlanta was a guy, his name was Reverend Jack Rondo. Now we don't know how he came by hoodoo. Nobody knows. But we do know that he started selling powders, oils, incense, stuff like that, and people started to buy it. The Reverend Jack decided, well, I don't want to just sell it, I want to do it. And so he did. He did. And people would come to Reverend Jack so much that because he started a racket. He started a racket. And his family still owns the store. It's still Rondos who run Rondos. Reverend Jack would give you hoodoo on credit. And then you come back on payday. Now this is a long time ago. You come back on payday and hand Reverend Jack your paycheck. He would cash the check, take his out first, and then give you what was left over. Right, DP. Sarah Lee's pound cake. He loves Sarah Lee's pound cake. Yes. Now, Mr. J's daughter, she's a strong worker in and of herself. And she and I were talking about Saint Expedite. And she had some reservations about working with Saint, and I forget what they were. I might text her. I forget what they were, but it was about the whole Saint Expedite being a created spirit, as opposed to, you know, a spirit. Yes, like communal spiritual group thing. Absolutely, absolutely. What's up, Janelle? Good night. I don't know why. I need a new cord for this camera. I need a new cord for it. But anyway, we here. Manufacturer Saint likes manufacture pound cake. We ain't gonna go into Sarah Lee. Dark Prophet. DP, are you able to hop on Warzone later? Play some. I wanna drop into the Warzone. I wanna drop into the Warzone. And so it's funny. There was, we're talking about altars, and this is the way my mind works. So when we get into the webinar tomorrow, y'all, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Wait until the end. If I'm saying something and you ask and you got a question about it, just have your pen and just write it down. As they say, put a pin in it, and then we'll get over it in the Q&A section, because y'all see how my brain works. It doesn't. I go all over the place. But since we were talking about altars, let's get on the ancestor altar for a minute, because I don't know why people have such a you have permission. Yes. We're gonna play some video games. But I, in a way, I get it. People are like, well, Big Mama didn't Big Mama and when she was alive, but you have to understand, people are able to do different things now, gain different insight. You'd be surprised at what's that word y'all like to use? Tea. You'd be surprised at what type of tea your ancestors will bring to you. Um, I don't, and I think a large part of it has to do with the disconnect in the world socially now. People don't interact with one another. We just like and thumbs up, and and retweet or whatever. But people don't take the time to like just get to know people anymore. And so it's like, well, dang, the big mama that and people want to jump over their ancestors and go straight to a spirit who knows nothing about them under the assumption that that spirit just loves them. If you're going to work with someone in the spiritual realm, why not start off with somebody you know likes you? There is so much weirdness going on in the spiritual community. People will automatically jump to, well, I want to work with the spirit of High John because you read it in a book. And you automatically assume that because you want to work with him, he is wanting to work with you. If I had a dime for every time I've heard that some spirit wants called out to somebody, man, I would have a bunch of dimes. Let's put it, I would have a bunch of dimes. And it's because in this world where we're so connected, we could never be more disconnected from one another. We have so many ways of in touch with each other, from live streaming to FaceTiming, text messaging, email, that we don't even know nobody's phone number anymore. And we use that. And even if we don't admit that we feel it, this world has this undercurrent of loneliness and feeling of being overlooked that's just flowing everywhere. So now you have people who are like, you know what, I'm overlooked, I'm alone, got a friends list with 2,000 people, nobody checks on you. But so why not have this spirit that separates me from the rest of the pack? That this spirit is out there and it loves me. You don't know that. Hi John is a trickster. I tell people all the time. Hi John is a trickster. And remember how we say common sense is not common anymore? Ever since American Horror Story did that Coven season, now all of a sudden Papa Legba is reaching out to everyone. And I'm like, so in a tradition that has initiation, has priests, has devotees, and everything, this spirit jumped over all them folks to come to you. No, it's because you want to feel like you Neo from the Matrix. You want to feel like you're the one. It gives you some relevance that you're seeking. In reality, these spirits are just fine. They are just fine. You have to make that step. They're not reaching out to you. Chelsea, I have no idea what you just said. And I read it two times. So I'm just gonna say cool beans. Cool beans. All right. Anything else, y'all? Because it's about supper time. It's about 7 o'clock, Hoodoo Standard Time. I want to have me a little supper. Trying to get this podcast together so y'all don't have to log on here to always get some information. Just start a podcast. Maybe me and DP will fire some stuff back up and get it rocking and rolling. Because I love podcasts simply because I can just hit the road and I go through Apple Podcasts and it just downloads whatever I'm subscribed to. It just downloads, and even if I'm in a bad area, I can still listen to that podcast. And I know for some of you, if you're in a rural area like I am, you can't listen to me while you're riding because it's gonna drop and buffer and all the other mess. So that's why I love podcasts. And also I don't have to get dressed. I I can just record this thing, just akimbo. But yeah. All right. So that's it. Didn't mean to burst any bubbles because a lot of people what I found is that a lot of folks, the practicing of hoodoo or anything else, it's more cathartic than them actually looking for results. And it is a form of meditation and a form of reflective prayer to light the candle, to go through the motions. So by all means, please continue to practice. I just, I don't practice. I'm in the game. Put me in the game, coach. But practicing helps. But anyway, I'm about to do something, some work. There was a well, I ain't gonna tell you. Well, no, I need to get a okay first before I bring this up. But I'm about to do some work on a situation that should not have happened to someone near to me, you know. So get that out the way. And oh, to this person, I promise you, your end will be spectacular. But anyway, y'all, I'm up out of here. I appreciate you guys taking the time to shoot, sit here and listen to me, rap a taste and see everyone tomorrow. I may go live here a little bit before we convene for the webinar, just to remind folks and see if anybody wants to see my teaching style and come on in. But in the meantime, y'all get the basics down. To trim those wicks, light your candles. Make sure that you are consistently to the ancestor altar. Make sure that you are, you know, if you cannot, here's a little hoodoo hack for you guys. If you cannot yet control your emotions, so that you can be angry when it's time to hex, so that you can be in love when it's time to do love work, so that you can feel wealthy when it's time to do that type of, when it's time to do money work. Here's a little hack for you. When you find yourself in those moods, then you do the work. So if something ticks you off, go to your book and like, oh, you know what? Now I got that energy. Let me do this work on such and such. Or, you get some little overtime and you feeling like, hey, get your money work going, because now you are in that feeling of wealth. You better hurry up and do it before you start counting the bills. So there's a little hack for you. But all right, y'all, I am up out of here again. And it was my pleasure. There's still time to get in on the webinar. Just make sure you send your $10 via Cash App or Venmo, and let's get this thing started. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one, and I am up out of here. Y'all have a blessed, blessed, blessed Monday.